Yo, what's up guys, it's Cozy and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to take a quick look at the newest feature in Honkai Star Rail, which is Pure Fiction. Pure Fiction joins the game as another Memory of Chaos type activity that allows you to farm stellar jades, jade feathers and a lot of other currencies. It is extremely difficult and in its current form it is a, I guess, challenge your account type of activity. You can find it over on the Lofu in the Exalting Sanctum, and after a very short introduction you are immediately thrown into the activity. Now, how does the activity in itself work? Very simple. With every reset you get a blessing, which in our case is called the Whimsicality. It is the same as the Abyssal Blessing in Genshin, so if you're used to that you should already be familiar when it comes to Whimsicality. On top of that, you also have Cacophony, which are basically buffs you can use in order to enhance your teams. These buffs are really impactful and honestly they help you a lot. The goal of Pure Fiction is to defeat or damage as many enemies as you can within a certain number of rounds, and depending on the points you get, you will be rewarded with up to 3 stars. There are 4 stages, so 12 stars in total, and that makes it quite similar to the Memory of Chaos or to the Spiral Abyss in Genshin. By this point you might have already seen some videos here and there talking about how difficult the last stage is, and I kinda have to agree with that. Not necessarily in terms of survivability, but rather in terms of taking out enough enemies within the given time. So let us now move on to the buffs in more detail, as well as team composition. And let me already spoil you a bit, there are 2 characters, maybe 3, that are really going to shine in this activity. So let us start by talking about the Whimsicality system in more detail. The way it works is that whenever you're going to attack your opponents with your ultimate, you're going to apply 1 stack of Shatter to them. You can stack up to 6 times, and depending on the stacks you're going to do a set amount of damage to your main target as well as adjacent targets. But that only happens whenever they take a turn or when they are defeated. As such, what will happen once you get familiar with the whole system is that you will trigger chain reactions where you're basically taking out one opponent and then your Whimsicality stacks, the Shatter stacks, are going to take out the other opponents if they are low HP. In itself a fairly good system. The only thing to point out here is that you need to do damage with your ultimate. So ultimates like Jingliu's or Himeko or Blade work for this effect, but ultimates like Ruin Maze or Warriors are not going to do anything when it comes to that. After that we have the Cacophony system, and for that let us move on to the actual buff window here. So the Cacophony system is going to increase the effectiveness of your Whimsicality. First up we have Erupt, which basically gives you 1 additional stack whenever you're going to use your ultimate. So instead of applying 1 stack, you're now going to apply 2 stacks. After that we have Rupture, which is the effect that I used for a long time, for quite a lot of tries, where you're basically going to increase your ultimate damage for every opponent you're going to defeat with Shatter. And you can do that up to 20 times, 15% per stack, so 300% in total over time. And after that we have Excitation, which is the effect that I ended up using for my clear run, which basically whenever opponents spawn, you have an 80% chance to apply Shatter to them. And let me tell you, if you're not familiar with the whole thing yet, you have opponents, they just spawn constantly. Whenever you take out one opponent, you have another one respawn. And because of that, Excitation happens basically throughout the entire fight. So in itself a fairly good effect. Next up, let us take a look at team composition. But before we talk about our team composition, let us quickly take a look at the enemy lineup. In the first half we have Shepard, and in the second half we have Swarbok as boss enemies. One thing to point out here is that you do not need to defeat Swarbok or Shepard in order to get to 60k points. You only need to do that if you want to get 80k points. In more detail, in the first wave we have a Lieutenant and some small enemies. In the second wave we have a Trotter, who if you defeat the Trotter is going to give you additional points, and as well, more small enemies. And in the last wave, like I said, Shepard with a bunch of smaller enemies. The small enemies, you can basically look at them as free points. Whenever you're going to defeat them, they give you points and they will keep respawning. This is fairly good because you can use it, like I said, in order to get to 60k points without having to kill Japart. In the second half, like I said, we have Swarok, a Grizzly in the first wave, and Trotters in the second wave, once again. The smaller enemies, once again, are 3 points, and they become fairly important when it comes to a very specific team composition that we are going to talk about later on. So when it comes to our first team composition, the characters that I first used were Jingliu, Ruinmei, Bronya, and Fushwang. And on paper, this one is a really good composition, extraordinarily powerful, but not really good for this event. Mainly due to the reason that you need to defeat as many enemies as you can within a very short time window. And Jingliu, for this composition, as you can see, she's kinda the only character that does damage. And on top of that, her ultimate doesn't even hit all enemies, it only hits 3 enemies. So on paper really good, but in actuality she will like get you 40k points and that's kinda it, unless you have Eidolon 6, but you know, I am free to play, I don't have that, so yeah. On paper really good, but didn't end up doing as much as I thought it would. What I did is that I took out Ruinmei and I put in Clara. And Clara, in my opinion, is the first MVP for this entire event. The reasoning behind it is very simple. When Clara gets attacked, she will do a follow-up attack, right? You all know that. But what you might not be aware of is that whenever you're going to take down one of your opponents, that opponent is going to respawn. And your opponents are not limited by your turns. They will take action immediately, right? They will not wait for your turn to end because they take action immediately. Good sentence, I know, but either way, what I mean by that is that once you take down an opponent by using Clara's follow-up attack, said opponent will respawn. Hopefully he attacks Clara, and you once again take down that opponent by using her follow-up attack. And so you kinda have a cycle that will constantly repeat itself, where you will generate endless points basically. As long as they attack Clara, which, you know, if you use your ultimate, they are kind of forced to do that. And besides that, we have Jingliu in order to take down the higher HP enemies like the Lieutenant, or in order to take down opponents that kind of don't want to attack Clara, in order to take down the Trotter, to do some damage on Japart and stuff like that. And we have Bronya here and Fushwang in order to kind of support our 2 DPS characters here. And like you can see, this team composition, I'm free to play, it gave me 30k points, which was enough for the 60k. After that, when it comes to our second team, we have our 2 MVPs here, who are Herta and Himeko. And you might be thinking, Himeko, really? Like, she hasn't really been good at all since the beginning of the game. But yes, she is unironically really good for this event, mainly due to the reason that all your opponents are either low HP or fairly low when it comes to their weakness break bar. And because of that, you're going to either push them below 50% HP with a single attack, which will trigger Herta's follow-up attacks, or you're going to break their weakness bar, which is going to trigger Himeko's follow-up attack. And technically, Himeko will then trigger Herta's follow-up attack, and Herta maybe... Is there a frost? Yeah, Herta sometimes will also break your Vagrant weakness bar, which will then trigger Himeko's follow-up attack, so, you know, a cycle that keeps repeating itself. And on top of that, we have Ruinmei, who's going to increase your damage, your weakness break efficiency, stuff like that. And Huhwe, who, I guess, in my opinion at least, is the best healer in the game right now, because she gives you passive healing, massive, active healing, attack buffs, a really, really good ultimate, stuff like that, right? And in the first team, like I said, we have Fushwang, because she is ideal for crit rate and crit damage type of compositions. And that's kinda it when it comes to compositions. So let us talk about characters that you could also use if you don't have those specific ones. Kafka is really good, because she works really well in the second composition. She's also doing follow-up attacks, so she will help with Himeko and Herta. We have Topaz and Nambi, who are also really good for this, you can use them. Silverwolf, honestly, I would skip for this. Sealy, I would skip for this. Natasha, you kinda don't really need her for this. If you don't have any other healer, you can use Natasha for sure, but you can also just leave out your support heal characters completely and do something like this, right? If you just keep killing your opponents quickly enough, you don't even need a healer, right? So that you can do too. Other characters, Pilar works really well for the first team. Tingyun, generally speaking, works really well. Asta is a really good character. Characters, let's see, who do I not have? Jingren works really well. Nah, I don't know. He has an, like, let's say it like that, in order to make it as simple as possible. Any character, 5-star or 4-star, doesn't matter, that has a AoE attack, ultimate or skill, doesn't matter, that is going to hit all your opponents, is really good for this event. Characters like Jing Liu, because they only hit 3 opponents with their ultimate and skill, are not as good. But due to the fact that Jing Liu is broken, you can still use it, right? And yeah, that's kind of it. Now, before we move on to the last segment, which is my full clear for the last stage of the Pure Fiction event, which will also have no commentary, so it's just my full clear, you can watch it and chill along with it. Let us now talk about, or let us quickly take a look at my characters in more detail so that you know what you technically should be aiming for if you want to get to 60k points. Alright, so Jing Liu, signature light cone, full traces, normal relic sets, no eidolons, and fairly high crit damage. Crit rate, if you're familiar with Jing Liu, she gets 50% crit rate for free by entering her transcendent state, so 42% crit rate is more than enough because she gets to 92% basically. After that we have Clara, who is not built at all, kinda. No crit rate, or a lot of crit rate actually, but no crit damage. Universe light cone, good enough traces I guess, normal relics, and 1 eidolon here. After that we have Bonya, no eidolons, good traces, normal relics and stuff, normal light cone, so like a completely normal Bonya. A fairly good and cracked Fishfang here with her preservation, simulated universe light cone, fully leveled, fairly good relics, like she has good stats, and 1 eidolon, which in my opinion is the best one because it gives you 30% crit damage, so my Fishfang is fairly good, I have to admit to that. After that we have Huan Mei, her signature light cone, almost fully leveled traces, I'm almost there when it comes to her trace materials. Good relics, weakness break, as well as Penacony, which is kind of a mistake because I usually use her with Jing Liu, so I need to switch that out if I'm using her with other characters because, you know, she's the only Frost character in that case, and no eidolons. Then we have Herta, full eidolons, decent relics, not really decent traces, normal light cone, and decent enough stats. Maybe a little bit too much crit rate here, she could use more crit damage, but whatever. And Huhue, who honestly there's not a whole lot to Huhue. No eidolons, relics, just stack HP on her and speed. Almost fully leveled traces. A very good light cone, unironically, because I got this one, you know, every single time I failed my 50-50, I got this light cone, or I ended up getting Himeko, right? So yeah, so Himeko is fairly good for me, especially for this event, because she is Eidolon 3, has good relics, good not good traces, but good enough for the event, a very good light cone, and overall really good. No crit rate whatsoever, I don't really care about crit rate in that case, because I'm kinda, as you can see, with her relics and her light cone, it's all about follow-up attack damage. Yeah, and I don't think I have a crit rate. Yeah, it's crit damage on here. This one should be crit rate, but I don't have one, so... Either way, that's the team. That's what you should be aiming for. Closely to that, I guess, or better, because you can see there's still a lot of room to improve here on most of the characters. But it was enough to get to 60k points. And yeah, that's kind of it. I will now add my full clear for the entire event at the very end of the video. You can watch it or you can just skip it, whatever. And I hope this guide was helpful. If it was, let me know in the comments. Leave a like, a sub, whatever. Let me know what teams you used for the event, how far you got. Did you clear it as well? Or did you maybe struggle with it? I don't know. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.
Time to change tactics. Lend me your strength. Blade of moonlight. All will be revealed in lunar flame.
A quick divination. Together as one.
I want to protect everyone. Tell me, Mr. Sora.
We've entered the storm. To guard and defend. Crush them.
I'm not afraid of you.
Lend me your strength.
I want to protect everyone. Tell me, Mr. Sora.
I see through you. Human creations.
Eliminating threat.
Lend me your strength.
Try harder.
Yin and yang.
Stay back, Clara.
All will be revealed in lunar flame.
A quick divination. Converge and awaken.
Our position is solid. Stay back, Clara.
I want to protect everyone. Tell me, Mr. Sora.
We've entered the storm. To guard and defend. Crush them.
Stand down. Blade of moonlight. Try harder.
Lend me your strength.
Nowhere to run. All will be revealed in lunar flame.
In the name of preservation! Stay back, Clara.
Human creations.
Are you all right?
I'm okay. I want to protect everyone. Tell me, Mr. Sora.
No matter.
As you command.
Try harder.
We've entered the storm. To guard and defend. Crush them. This battle is unavoidable. Lend me your strength. Yin and yang.
Our position is solid.
I need to be brave.
Eliminating threat.
I wonder what that is.
Burn away.
Upgrade configured. Is this Pinch's unity?
We can't do this.
Forward.
Give me strength. value, I suppose. Every petal, all will be swept away by the wind.
Time for an overhaul.
Time to twirl! Do you know who I... This big diamond! It's all yours!
You won't get away.
Time to twirl!
You won't get away.
Perhaps humanity never conceals its desire to control the heavens, and I'm no exception.
Time to twirl! I'm gonna hold everyone back again! Time to twirl!
Fiends or devils, I'll crush them all!
I have something for you.
You won't get away.
Time to twirl! Do you know who I... This big diamond! It's all yours!
You won't get away.
Time to twirl!
You won't get away.
Time to twirl! Honored to meet you.
Perhaps humanity never conceals its desire to control the heavens, and I'm no exception.
Time to twirl! Do you know who I... This big diamond! It's all yours! Time to twirl! Protect me! Protect me!
Eternal. Every petal, all will be swept away by the wind.
Enjoying yourself?
Executing operation.
You won't get away.
Time to twirl! Oh dear! Time to twirl!
You won't get away.
There's more to life.
You won't get away.
Time to twirl!
Perhaps humanity never conceals its desire to control the heavens, and I'm no exception.
Time to twirl! Do you know who I am? This big diamond! It's all yours! Time to twirl!
Fiends or devils, I'll crush them all!
You won't get away.
Time to twirl!
Reinforcing. Value exceeds threshold.
Got a lot of nerve.
Do you know who I am? This big diamond! It's all yours! Time to twirl!
Every petal, all will be swept away by the wind.
Evaluating variables.
Time for an overhaul.
I'm scared!
Stay put. Get them.